What classifies as a Generations game? A Generations game shows a brief history of that Sonic character while recreating original levels from the era of that Sonic game. Generations is a sequel to these original games while doing something new with the plot of the game. Now I would talk about the different dimensions in the Sonic universe that has the potential to recreate levels in Generations. Sonic Mania does fit in with the idea of Sonic Generations. Mania does remake levels from Sonic's past history, which is really amazing. Sonic Mania's controls and classic Sonic physics are better than Generations, and even though Generations controls are not exactly like classic Sonic's physics, it is really good. The spin dash is the most overpowered thing in Generations, and it is really fun to use. When some of the older levels from the previous Sonic games returns in Sonic Mania, they're recreations of the original levels, and they're not exactly like the original levels. Like Generations, Generations would change the level designs of these returning levels and makes it feel unique and fresh. The prime example of this is Chemical Plant Act 2, and Chemical Plant Act 2 is a really good level. Sonic Mania for me is the game that shows the right way to bring back old classic levels and completely remixing them from the ground up. You would think that Sega would learn the idea of remixing levels in the next Sonic game after Mania, but that wasn't the case with Sonic Forces and Sonic Frontiers. With Sonic Forces, there's not that many returning levels that Sega brought back in the game, but there's only 3 levels. With the older levels brought back in Sonic Forces, they're downgrades of the original levels, which is a disappointment. If you try to compare Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plants to the Generations counterparts, these stages are a letdown. The levels are shorter and there's way too much automations for these remixed levels. Sonic Frontiers, on the other hand, tries to copy previous levels from previous Sonic games like Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Generations. Sega didn't want to recreate any levels from Sonic Forces into Sonic Frontiers, and it makes a lot of sense. Forces wasn't received that well, and any recreation of Forces level design in Sonic Frontiers, a lot of Sonic fans would have probably felt disappointed if Cyberspace had any recreations of Forces level design in the game. Now you guys can kinda understand about bringing back a previous level within Generations. A Generations level is a recreation of that level, and it has the heart and essence of the original level. What do I mean by this? A Generations level can kind of serve as a remake of these returning stages, but it also feels like a continuation of these older stages. For my personal opinion, I think that Cyberspace and Null Space should return in Generations, but with improved level design. When Sonic Team should bring back Null Space or even Cyberspace, Sonic Team should not reuse Green Hill, Chemical Plants, or even Sky Century's assets. If Sega doesn't reuse these free stages assets that I mentioned right now, I can see people liking Cyberspace and Null Space.